Scattered across the UK, ancient towers hide dark secrets and restless spirits. In the dead of night, their haunted pasts come alive. Are you daring enough to uncover their chilling truths? 1. Racton Tower Ruin, Sussex. Racton Tower, now a crumbling ruin nestled in the quiet fields of Sussex, hides a dark history behind its decaying walls. Built in the 18th century, the tower was once a symbol of power and wealth, but today it stands abandoned and eerie, with the weight of centuries pressing down upon it. The most famous legend surrounding Racton Tower is the apparition of a soldier in military garb, often seen at the top of the tower or wandering the surrounding grounds. The soldier is said to be the restless spirit of a young man who died during a bloody battle nearby, cursed to remain at the site of his death for all eternity. Many locals have reported hearing the sound of marching footsteps echoing in the night, growing louder until they suddenly stop, as if the soldier is waiting for someone to acknowledge his presence. On the darkest nights, a cold, oppressive silence settles around the tower, broken only by the distant, mournful cries of a lost soul. Those brave enough to approach report an inexplicable chill creeping over them, and some even claim to have seen the soldier, his spectral figure flickering in the moonlight. The mystery of his death and the belief that he is seeking peace keeps visitors at bay, but there are always a few who dare to venture closer. 2. St. Leonard's Tower, Hampshire. St. Leonard's Tower, an isolated and imposing structure in Hampshire, is a place where the past lingers like a shadow, and its ghostly history refuses to fade. Built as a watchtower during the medieval period, it has long been abandoned, yet its silence is deceptive. The most infamous tale is that of a woman, believed to be the tower's last inhabitant, whose life was tragically cut short under mysterious circumstances. It's said she was murdered, her body discovered within the tower's stone walls, the cause of her death never fully uncovered. Locals claim that her spirit is trapped within the tower, wandering the halls in search of justice that was never served. On moonlit nights, the cries of a woman can be heard, rising from the tower, a sorrowful wail that seems to drift on the wind. Some visitors who dare to explore the ruins report feeling a heavy sadness in the air, as though the walls themselves mourn her fate. The woman's ghost is said to appear at the top of the tower, her pale face framed by the darkness, gazing out into the night, waiting for someone to uncover the truth of her untimely demise. 3. Carshalton Water Tower, London. Carshalton Water Tower in South London may look peaceful, but it holds a tragic story that has left it haunted by a restless spirit. Built in the 18th century to store water for the local area, the tower has a surprisingly dark reputation. The ghost that haunts this site is said to be the spirit of a young woman who lived there long ago. She was a victim of a forbidden love affair that ended in heartbreak and despair. After her tragic death, her restless spirit was believed to be bound to the tower, unable to find peace. Visitors often report feeling a sudden, inexplicable chill as they approach the tower, and some claim to hear soft whispers on the wind, as though someone is calling for help. Those who venture inside the tower describe an oppressive atmosphere, as though the air itself is thick with sorrow. There are accounts of her ghostly figure appearing at the tower's window, her eyes filled with sadness and longing, searching for a love she can never have. Whether her presence is one of sorrow or anger remains unclear, but her haunting is undeniable. 4. Bardon Tower, Yorkshire. Set amidst the wild and rugged landscape of Yorkshire, Bardon Tower stands as a testament to the power and tragedy of the de Lacy family. Built in the 14th century, This tower was once a fortress protecting the family's vast estate. But with its walls now crumbling and its history long forgotten, the tower is more a reminder of betrayal and death than anything else. The most chilling tale is that of Lady Anne, the young wife of a prominent member of the de Lacy family, who was betrayed and murdered by her own kin. Her death was a cruel act of family politics, and her spirit, filled with rage and sorrow, is said to haunt the tower. Locals have reported hearing her cries of anguish echoing through the ruins, as if she is calling out for justice. Some say her ghost can be seen at the tower's windows, her ghostly face framed by the ancient stone, her eyes filled with desperation. Visitors who come too close to the tower often report feeling an oppressive presence, as if the air is thick with the sorrow and anger that Lady Anne left behind. The legend of her spirit endures, and many believe she will never find peace until the truth of her death is finally revealed. 5. Bonshaw Tower, Scotland. Bonshaw Tower, a solitary structure in the Scottish countryside, holds a dark and unsettling legacy that few dare to uncover. Built by the powerful Maxwell family, the tower has witnessed centuries of political intrigue, betrayal, and murder. Among the most disturbing tales is that of a young woman who was brutally murdered within its walls by her own family. Her spirit, consumed by rage and the need for revenge, is said to haunt the tower to this day. Visitors have reported seeing her apparition, a pale, translucent figure drifting silently through the rooms, her expression one of intense sorrow. Others claim to have heard the sound of her footsteps in the empty hallways, the faint echoes of a woman whose life was violently stolen. The atmosphere around Bonshaw Tower is heavy, charged with an oppressive energy, as if the very stones of the tower hold the anger and sorrow of the past. Many who enter speak of a bone-chilling cold that suddenly envelops them, accompanied by an eerie sense of being watched by unseen eyes. Her ghost, unable to rest, lingers on, eternally searching for justice. 6. Creswell Tower, Northumberland. In the desolate landscape of Northumberland, Creswell Tower stands as a grim reminder of the violence that once plagued the region. Built in the 14th century to fend off marauding Scots, this fortress has seen its fair share of bloodshed. Yet, it's the ghost of a soldier, killed while defending the tower, who is said to haunt the site. His spirit, unable to find rest after his violent death, is believed to walk the grounds of the tower, eternally guarding a place that no longer requires protection. Witnesses who have ventured into the tower late at night report hearing the unmistakable sound of boots echoing in the stone hallways, as if the soldier is still patrolling. Some claim to have caught sight of a shadowy figure standing at the window, staring out at the surrounding moors as if waiting for an enemy that will never come. The air around Creswell Tower is thick with unease, and many who step foot within its walls describe an overwhelming sensation of being watched, as though the soldier's spirit is following their every move. The tower, though long abandoned, still seems to be under the watchful eyes of its eternal guardian. 7. Lockhouse Tower, Scotland. Lockhouse Tower, a lonely structure standing by the water's edge in Scotland, holds a tragic story that echoes through the surrounding silence. Built in the 16th century, this tower has witnessed many dark events, but the most chilling tale is that of a woman who was murdered within its walls under mysterious circumstances. Her death, said to be a brutal act of betrayal, left her spirit bound to the tower, unable to escape the torment of her final moments. Those who pass by Lockhouse at night often hear soft, mournful cries drifting across the loch, the sound of a soul still in torment. Some have reported seeing her ghostly figure standing at the tower's window, her face obscured by a veil of sorrow and sadness. The air around the tower feels heavy, as though the woman's spirit is trapped in a place she cannot leave. Visitors to Lockhouse Tower describe an unsettling chill in the air, a feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. The woman's ghost remains, wandering the tower's empty halls in search of something she can never find: peace. 8. Greenknowe Tower, Scotland deep within the Scottish borders. Greenknowe Tower stands as a silent sentinel of the past, a place where history and hauntings are entwined. Built in the 16th century, this tower was once home to a wealthy family, but its reputation took a dark turn after the tragic death of a young woman. It is said that she was a beautiful noblewoman whose life was stolen by a jealous lover, leaving her spirit bound to the tower forever. Her ghost, sorrowful and searching, is said to roam the tower's stone corridors, her cries faint but chilling in the stillness of night. Visitors have often described the unmistakable feeling of being watched, as though her eyes are following them from the shadows. On rare occasions, her spectral figure appears at the windows, her face pale and veiled with grief, staring into the distance as if waiting for her lover's return. Some claim to hear her soft sobs in the dead of night, carried on the wind, a tragic reminder of her violent end. The tower, though quiet and peaceful in the daylight, is said to hold an oppressive presence after dark, where the past continues to bleed through the walls. 9. Cockscon Tower. Kent Cockscon Tower, a solitary structure standing in the quiet countryside of Kent, is a place where the line between history and the supernatural becomes blurred. Once a stronghold during medieval times, the tower has been the site of many battles and bloody encounters. But the most haunting tale involves a soldier who met a tragic end while stationed here during a time of war. His death, violent and unexpected, is said to have left his spirit tethered to the tower. Those who have dared to enter Cockscon Tower late at night report hearing the sound of heavy footsteps echoing through the empty halls, followed by an eerie silence. Some even claim to have seen a shadowy figure pacing the tower's upper floors, the shape of a man in full armor, forever trapped in his eternal watch. The air around the tower grows cold and thick with dread, as if the very stones of the tower carry the weight of the soldier's tragic fate. Visitors often speak of a feeling of unease that overtakes them as they approach, the sensation of being followed by something unseen. The soldier's ghost, unable to rest, remains a permanent presence in Cockscon Tower, forever guarding a place that no longer holds any true threat. 10. Craigmillar Tower, Edinburgh. Craigmillar Tower, standing quietly on the outskirts of Edinburgh, is not just a relic of history, it's a monument to mystery. Legend says that long ago, a noblewoman lived here, whose life took a devastating turn when she was betrayed by those closest to her. Stricken with grief, her broken heart never found peace, and it's believed her restless spirit still wanders the tower, seeking the closure she was denied in life. As the creator of Creepy Experience, I've ventured into this eerie site, and I can tell you, there's something unsettling about it. The air grows unnaturally cold in certain rooms, and a heavy silence lingers, as though the tower itself is holding its breath. Some say her figure can be glimpsed, standing motionless in the tower's windows, her face a mask of sorrow. Perhaps she's waiting for the forgiveness that never came, or perhaps she's simply waiting for someone to notice her pain, forever caught in the ruins of her past. 11. Reculver Towers. Kent Reculver Towers in Kent, with its ancient Roman roots and shadowed silhouette against the coastline, has long been a place of mystery and ghostly encounters. But there's one legend here that chills the blood, the tale of the Nightwolf. Beneath the eerie glow of the full moon, this monstrous creature would prowl the cliffs, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. Described as a grotesque blend of man and beast, the wolf's fur was as black as the midnight sky, matted and wild, covering a body far larger than any natural wolf could ever grow. Its face, twisted with hatred, was framed by a tangle of fur that seemed to move and writhe as though alive. Some say its jaws were wide enough to swallow a man whole, sharp teeth glinting like daggers in the moonlight. Those unlucky enough to cross its path spoke of a foul stench, like rotting earth and decay, as the wolf's presence seemed to swallow the very air around it. The growls and howls of this creature, echoing through the wind, were said to freeze the blood in your veins, each sound a promise of death. Locals tell stories of hearing these growls even on the quietest nights. The terrifying sound carried by the sea breeze, as if the beast is still hunting, still waiting, eternally cursed to roam these cliffs. Some say the wolf's gaze alone can drive a man mad, his eyes burning with the rage of 100 souls trapped in the form of a beast. Could it be that the Nightwolf still stalks Reculver Towers, a curse that refuses to die? Or is it the legend that continues to haunt those who dare to walk the cliffs? 12. Westgate Towers Museum, Canterbury. Westgate Towers, a medieval gatehouse in Canterbury, has stood for over 600 years, but it is not only history that resides here, it's also home to restless spirits. Built in the 14th century, the towers once served as a prison, and it is said that the souls of the condemned still linger within its walls. The most well-known ghost here is that of a former prisoner, a man who was executed for a crime he did not commit. His wrongful death left him filled with rage and confusion, and his spirit is said to wander the halls of the tower, searching for answers that can never be found. Visitors to the Westgate Towers Museum often report hearing the sound of chains dragging along the floor, as if the ghost is still shackled by his unjust fate. Some have seen his spectral figure, a man in ragged clothing, pacing the tower's corridors in a state of eternal torment. The air around the tower grows heavy with the weight of the past, and those who explore its dark rooms often feel a chill that has nothing to do with the weather. The spirit of the wronged prisoner continues to haunt the towers, forever trapped by the injustice of his final days. 13. Freston Tower, Suffolk. Freston Tower, a picturesque folly located in Suffolk, may seem like an idyllic landmark, but beneath its serene exterior lies a history steeped in mystery and terror. Built in the early 16th century as a place of leisure, the tower soon became the site of tragedy. It is said that a young man, mad with love, took his life within the tower, leaving his soul forever bound to the spot. His ghost is said to haunt the tower to this day, wandering its empty rooms in search of his lost love. Some say that on moonlit nights, the faint sound of a woman's voice can be heard calling his name, though no one else is ever seen. Visitors who approach the tower at dusk often report feeling a heavy, suffocating presence, as if something or someone is watching them from the shadows. The air grows unnaturally cold, as though the spirits of the past are still very much alive, lingering in the stone walls. His tortured soul seems to wander aimlessly, trapped in a never-ending loop of longing and loss. Those who dare to enter Freston Tower after dark speak of hearing the soft rustling of footsteps behind them, but when they turn, no one is there. 14. Littledean Tower, Surrey. Littledean Tower, tucked away in the countryside of Surrey, holds a dark secret that has haunted its grounds for centuries. The tower, built in the 16th century, was once part of a large estate, but it was abandoned after a series of mysterious disappearances. Legend has it that a noble family lived in the tower, but one by one, they disappeared under strange circumstances. The most disturbing story is that of a young child who vanished without a trace, only to be found years later in the tower's attic, her body unnaturally preserved. Some say the child's spirit has never left, trapped within the tower's cold, dark walls. Visitors often report hearing the faint sound of a child's laughter, followed by a sudden silence that feels heavier than the night air. Others claim to have seen the child's ghost, her tiny form standing in the tower's window, her eyes wide with an unsettling emptiness. Those who have ventured inside describe feeling a chill that permeates every room, as though the very walls are holding the child's spirit captive. The tower is a place where time seems to stand still, and the past refuses to let go. 15. Blackpool Tower, Lancashire. Blackpool Tower, a towering symbol of British seaside grandeur, may be known for its stunning views and entertainment, but it also harbors an eerie reputation. Beneath the glitz and glamour, it is believed to be haunted by the restless spirits of those who met untimely deaths in its shadow. The most famous ghost is that of a performer, a woman who tragically fell to her death during a show at the tower's circus in the early 20th century. Her spirit is said to wander the tower, her presence felt most strongly in the darkened corners of the building. Those who work in the tower have reported strange occurrences, from lights flickering inexplicably to the sound of phantom footsteps echoing through the empty hallways. Some claim to have seen the woman's ghost, dressed in a performer's costume, her eyes wide with a sorrowful expression. The atmosphere in Blackpool Tower can shift suddenly, as if the very building is haunted by the memories of those who died there. Though it is a place of joy for many, others find themselves chilled by the whispers of a long-forgotten tragedy. If this tale sent a chill down your spine, don't forget to hit like, share it with someone who loves a good scare, and drop a comment below. I'd love to know what you think. And of course, subscribe to Creepy Experience for more spine-tingling stories that will keep you up at night.